Do you want to become a better rhythm player? Of course you do, or at least you should, because that's 90% or more of what you're likely to be playing. But if you're having trouble coming up with interesting rhythm lines, you're in luck, because I've got a couple of simple tricks to show you that'll really make your rhythm shine by combining things that you probably already know. Coming right up. When I first started playing in garage bands, we played rock, and I just banged out bar chords. But after a while, I started playing professionally, and for singers who understood that people came to hear them, not me on guitar, and of course to dance. One such singer pulled me aside in the middle of an audition and said, "If I hear you playing another bar chord, you won't come back." I did my best to mute the strings and somehow got through the audition, but I really didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, it really made me listen to guys like Steve Cropper, Cornell Dupree, and the Funk Brothers. After all, it was a Motown band. So let me show you a few easy tricks that you can apply today to be more creative and to be a better bandmate too. You can apply them in minutes. Now don't just think that these are for soul. They can be used in pop and rock as well. The first trick is so simple you might not think it's a trick. It's more of a, oh right, I could do that sort of thing. But don't let that fool you. A lot of people forget about it, but you won't. And it's so effective. Suppose you've got a song that's got an A chord in it. Instead of just bashing out the bar chord A like this, you can arpeggiate it just playing one note at a time. That works really great in slow songs. And we usually think of it then, but we don't think of it in faster songs. But it works great there too. Now it's a great technique because it thins out the sound, and that's really important, not to take up so much space with just the guitar, especially if you're playing with other players like bassist or keyboard as well as a singer. But that technique is even more powerful when you combine it with our next technique. And I have to tell you, this next technique is something that a lot of people avoid because they worry about theory. Am I going to hit the right or the wrong note? But you really don't usually have to worry about that. I'll show you. Again, we're going to demo using our trusty A bar chord here, but it works with other bar chords as well. So the technique is hammer-ons, and it's as simple as that. You can combine it with our arpeggio technique to make a really nice sound. Isn't that nice? And when you're hammering on, you can hammer on the whole chord, or you could hammer on individual notes. Makes it kind of interesting. And as I said, you could do it for any bar chord that you want. Here's a D, for example. Now, a lot of people avoid using this technique, even though it sounds great, it works great, and it's totally easy. The reason is they worry about the notes that they're hammering from. But I'm here to tell you that the notes that really matter are the notes that you're hammering to. And those are just the chord notes. Now, let me show you. So let's take our Otis Redding arpeggio here. We're hammering on the G string from fret 5 to fret 6. That's a C to a C sharp. And now this works not because the C is in any sort of scale or something like that, but just because that's a momentary note and you're landing on a chord tone. Whenever you land on the chord tone, which it's a chord, it's going to be a chord tone, it's going to sound good. Still not convinced? Well, how about this? If we were worried about theory and whether we could hit these notes or anything like that, we'd worry about this middle note, this middle chord. It doesn't really fit anything, but when Jimmy hits that final F, it sounds like heaven, doesn't it? But the most important of these simple tricks is the next one. This one had an absolutely huge effect on my play. Let's have a look. Today's video is brought to you by Skillshare, an incredible online learning community where you can learn new skills or brush up on existing ones. Recently, I've been interested in improving my storytelling, and wow, does Skillshare ever have me covered for that. There are all sorts of courses on storytelling, from storytelling in social media like YouTube to visual storytelling, storytelling in film, in business, and of course in novels, short stories, and the like. And I'm spoiled for choice with lots of great instructors too. If you've been thinking about learning something new or to enhance your current skills, Skillshare is a perfect place to start, whether it's for a hobby or to hone your professional chops. Photography, songwriting, gardening, or business skills. Whatever it is, Skillshare's got something for everyone. And here's some great news. The first 500 people to join Skillshare using my link get 1 month of premium free. So click the link below, join Skillshare, and start your free month. And who knows, maybe you won't have to start every story with once upon a time. So here's the most important of these simple ideas today. It's going to seem trivial, but believe me, if you take it for granted, it will not happen automatically. It involves looking at bar chords in a fundamentally different way. Let's take our big bar chord A. Now, instead of just thinking, this is an A chord, think, this is a whole constellation of chords or notes that I can play. For example, I could play this, or I could play this, or I could play this. But you don't have to limit yourself to triads. You could play this, or this, or this, or this. And you could even play this. And you could even play single notes. And you can do that for any chord you already know. Turn one chord into like 50 things that you can do. But believe it or not, there's even more. There's another really important thing that happens when you do that. When you stop thinking that you have to play that bar chord, you can play a smaller chord, and that frees up fingers. Look, this freed up my pinky, so now I can put it somewhere. And it gets way better than this, because here I'm still using 3 fingers. Take this D chord, and if I chop it to just this, and instead of playing it with my 3rd finger, I play it with my 1st, look at all the fingers I have to do something with. Really fun. Whole new world of possibilities. But that just scratches the surface of that technique. If you really want to know more, and about triads too, click here. Because there's nobody who did it better than Jimi Hendrix. Oh man, he was just the best at it. I take you through a bunch of his techniques and his favorite moves. So click here. I'll see you in the next video, and I'll see you on down the road.